All right. Well, why don't we get started, everybody? No better time than now. I want to thank Alex for joining us today.
Thank you,
I
Rocky.
want to thank all the attendees for attending today. We're really excited getting spun up on this meetup. Alex and the team over at Rome Terminal have been very gracious and have been just like sort of Avalanche fanatics, as we say. I think they have, more than two or three apps now in the Avalanche ecosystem. I'll let him get into it in a little bit, but just want to thank everyone for attending. My name is Rocky, marketing coordinator here at Ava Labs. Really excited for you to be here. And yeah, I'll turn it over to you, Alex, if you want to get started.
Great.
And I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Rocky. I'm looking forward to chatting with yourself from Avalabs and a handful of the DeFi fanatics over at Avalanche as well for quite a long time. So I'm one of the co-founders of a company called Rome Blockchain Labs, and Rome Blockchain Labs is a software development firm that specializes in decentralized finance technology. So essentially, anything that you would do at a typical, hedge fund bank through Robinhood, you can do in the decentralized finance space. And that's one of the powerful things that we've noticed about specifically the Avalanche network is that in combination with their subnet architecture, their consensus mechanisms, and really the environment, the community, it's no better place to begin developing than here. So this presentation is specifically about the Rome Terminal project the Rome Blockchain Labs is building. RBL as a company has developed the Banky decentralized money market protocol, which if you've been on Avalanche, you've probably heard of. We've also developed Coup, the Velox trading bot. We developed Opulentia, which is a liquidation and arbitrage bot, facilitating the liquidations of illiquid loans on lending protocols. And most recently, the Rome Terminal. The Rome Terminal is a multi-network, multi-application portfolio management interface. One of the challenges that RBL, as a company, and specifically the co-founders, myself, JD and Hanu, came across was that in DeFi across multiple networks, there's really no singular space to be able to focus and work through all of the different assets that you maintain, right? You have your Ethereum assets, you have your Avalanche assets, you have your BSC assets. And if I want to work through charts, tables, exchanges, lending protocols, got to have a million different tabs up. Now, not only is it hard to manage, it's also easy to lose out on high value trading moments. So what if there is one application that was able to actually aggregate all of that information in a highly efficient, user-friendly way? That is exactly what the Rome Terminal is doing. So let's go and walk into it here. So this is what's called the dashboard on the Rome Terminal. The Rome Terminal begins with opening up the blockchain network menu on the left. Now, this is our closed alpha, so not everything you see here is going to be absolutely finalized, but it's pretty close. So you're able to select from this list your primary networks. So in this case, Avalanche is our first one, so we can open this up. From there, every DeFi service is broken up by its functionality. So exchanges, lending protocols, trading bots, asset bridges, so on and so forth. I can open up the exchange tab here, for example, and show Pangolin, Trader Joe, or Kyber DMM. In addition, once we have the RomeNet infrastructure up and running, we're actually able to source transaction tables and charts directly from that exchange. So as you can see here, we've loaded an Avalanche widget, populating the wrapped Avalanche and USDT.e pair on the Pangolin exchange. Now, what's nice about the widget functionality is that you can actually use it to set up and maintain a dashboard that's fully customizable. If you prefer to have all of your charts on one side, your transaction tables in the center, and then your exchanges on the right, you can do that. The Avalanche network offers a variety of high-quality services. We've integrated directly with the Pangolin service as our go-to DEX, essentially because they were one of the first ones on the network. But we're also reaching out to a handful of other projects as well. Right now, this is the Pangolin widget. It's the React mockup, so it's not the finalized design. But users will be able to connect their wallet, adjust their transaction settings, enter in whatever asset they want to swap directly on the widget interface. Let me open this up. There we go. And then they can actually execute their transaction directly from the Rome Terminal. The Rome Terminal doesn't have any intermediary services built into this. This is directly into the smart contract. In addition, you can open up pools. You can either add liquidity or create a pair, and also see your PNG breakdown. With the charting and table widgets, there's actually quite a bit of functionality built in. So to begin, you can actually select whatever network that you want to operate on for this chart or table. So if I want to look at charts for a certain asset on the Avalanche network or the Ethereum network, I can select that and go from there. So in this instance, we're just crawling for Avalanche, but we will be adding in a couple other chains not too far from the future. So from there, I can select whatever asset I want to load. So in this case, I can load the Chi and Wrapped AVAX pair. Chi is the token for the banking protocol that RBL has developed. And then I'm provided with real-time updated pricing on that asset. Now, let's say that I'm doing some technical analysis, like your standard trend line analysis or something like that, and I see a pretty favorable movement in price, and I want to trade it. Well, I can go to a Pangolin exchange or Trader Joe or the Kyber exchange, Kyber DMM, on a different tab. It'll completely work. Or you can actually open up the exchange option inside of the widget. Then from there, I can select Pangolin. And for the final version of this widget, it'll actually automatically be populated with both sides of the liquidity pool that you were just viewing. So in this instance, if I go back to this pair, the Pangolin widget will be populated with the Chi and Wrapped Avalanche assets. So I can convert that table into a chart. It'll populate, and then I can continue doing my TA. Now, one of the cool things about what the Roam terminal is building is not just the uniformity and the omnipresence of multiple applications. It's actually the rapidity and quality of data that's being provided. The Roam terminal is powered by an enterprise-grade data infrastructure known as RoamNet. RoamNet is a distributed network infrastructure that actually crawls transaction data off of the blockchain and is able to populate that transaction data into a chart or a table in essentially a real-time fashion. Right now, we have our data latencies down to just a couple seconds to be able to populate assets into a widget. So you can go between Chi, USDT, Wrapped AVAX, Wrapped ETH, and you can actually see the transactions flow in a semi-real-time fashion. From there, a couple of the functionalities that are also built into the transaction widgets include the external links. So you're provided with the name of the token you're observing, the token contract and pair address on whatever exchange is being populated, as well as some social and blockchain explorer applications. And then if the service provides their social information on a blockchain explorer, you get access to the project email, the project Telegram group, their website, and their Twitter account. So beyond the external links and the exchange tabs, you also have a very interesting feature called Widget Watch. Now, one of the things that we've noticed in the Roam terminal dashboard is that as people begin to use it, there's a lot of technical analysis that's built up. And for anybody who does any type of, shift pitchfork, Fibonacci retracement, any type of TA in general, you'll begin to notice that it takes some time for your expected breakouts or faults to occur, right? It could be 2 weeks, could be 2 months until that specific TA point is hit or even tested. So rather than have one of your widgets populate in the main dashboard the entire time, why not take a snapshot of that technical analysis, freeze it on the chart, and then save it for later? And that's exactly what the Widget Watch allows you to do. So this facet hasn't been deployed into our alpha yet, but what will happen is that I can do a whole bunch of TA, I can do all the analysis I'd like, click on Widget Watch, and the Roam terminal saves that layout onto the Widget Watch section. From there, you can wait a week, 2 weeks, 3 months for as much as you like, and then you can repopulate that widget back onto the dashboard and actually see how the price movement has been affected over time in comparison with your technical analysis. Let's say that there's been a great breakthrough and you want to buy or sell. You can then use the exchange tab to go and immediately transact for that asset. If you decided it's going to take a little bit more time before I'm actually happy with it, you can then click back to the Widget Watch and it'll resave it for further examination later on. In addition to the actual technical analysis maintenance, we've also noticed that one of the interesting things about DeFi is this 24-hour flow, how you have to stay on top of the pricing pretty much universally. But what if you don't really care too much about the historical price movement, but you just care about, graphically speaking, but you care about the present transacted value? That's where preferred tokens comes in. If I want to watch an asset and I'm just curious to see how the price moves over time, I can click on the add to favorites button. So let's close out Wrapped AVAX here. And I can actually load a real-time price feed for any asset on any exchange, on any blockchain network directly to the preferred token side. And this will give me the token ticker, the exchange it's on, the active price in US dollars. And then it'll also allow me to populate that asset on a table or chart in real time. So let's say I'm watching the price of Chi, for example, and I see that there's been a huge spike in price that happened in a very short amount of time. I can actually populate a transaction data table and see how the data moves. So I can go back, and then from there, I can actually open up the hash of that transaction and go into, whatever it is that I might be interested in there. And then if I don't like following that asset anymore, I can simply close it out and it's handled. So within those functionalities, we found that there's a holistic analysis of token information that has to happen. And one of the things that we've seen for that is the token details page. One of the things that we've implemented, to resolve that. With this page, you're given roughly hourly to 24-hour updated analytics on the asset that you're following. So the liquidity for that pool, the 24-hour movement, the volume, the number of pooled asset A and asset B, the total number of transactions involving that asset, the amount of assets that are in pools, and actually a token-to-token breakdown ratio. Now, you'll notice that a couple of these things aren't actually included yet. That's because we simply need a third-party API, for example, market cap, or there's advanced analytics that have to be done to gather circulating supply or go back and figure out when a pool is created for every exchange, for every asset that we list. It's not as simple, implement a crawler and walk away from there. So beyond that, the last couple of functionalities that we've actually got into already are the view as the chart or view as a table, and then the actual drag widget functionality that allows people to move it over here. One of the things that I might have touched over was the enlarge widget option that actually lets you pick up the widget in real time and blow it up to be viewed. And that way you can do your TA in a much larger area and then return it to that size, set it wherever you like, and then continue with your exploration. So overall, that's the functionality of the Roam terminal. It provides people with a completely bespoke, real-time analytical interface. You can perform technical analysis. You can host any exchange on any network. You can watch real-time transactions as they come in. And you can also see real-time data on pricing of tokens, as well as save your technical analysis. The entire platform operates on a Telegram account system that's presently been disabled, but essentially you sign in with your Telegram account. And then from there, your layout, your widget watch, your preferred tokens, your TA is completely saved to your account. So you can actually close out the Roam terminal on your desktop, for example, and then open it back up on your phone, log in with your Telegram account, and all of your technical analysis, all of your preferred token price feeds, all of your dashboard layouts are saved automatically to that view. So it actually, it more or less removes the need to stay on a desktop or laptop to do high quality analysis for decentralized finance activities. So beyond that, Rocky, that's pretty much the Roam terminal in a nutshell. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have, or go ahead and answer questions from the group.
Great, Alex. Well, hey, thanks for that little quick demo. I know our attendees really appreciated it. I'm looking, and we don't have any questions yet. I did just ping our YouTube as well. But maybe you could, answer where, maybe your sort of roadmap moving forward. What features are you prioritizing now? What are you most looking forward to, sort of end of the year timeframe? You can be as general or as specific as you want. I know with these things, they're kind of touchy. So
absolutely, I hear you. That's one of the funny things about tech development, right? Is that it doesn't always happen as quickly or in the order that you expect. We expected the Roam terminal to launch approximately about a week or two ago, but we found with the load demand on at least the Banky decentralized liquidity market that there was more presence in Avalanche DeFi than we even anticipated. So as far as a hard release date, it's difficult to give one specifically, but at present, we're anticipating around October 4th. So right around a week and a half or so, we're expecting to open up the public alpha. We've had a decent amount of interest to get the Roam terminal serviceable before that. And we had a couple of beta features that we wanted to release. So for example, native applications versus iframes. And rather than delay it any further, we decided to just launch the alpha as such, and then we can waterfall in additional implementations. As far as the business approach of the Roam terminal goes, One of the hallmarks of this service that we're providing is it's completely free. There's no token, there's no subscription cost, there's no software you have to buy and download. You go to app.roamterminal.io, you open up the website, and you're good to go. And we plan on keeping it that way pretty much in perpetuity. We found that within the DeFi space, multiple projects have a token unnecessarily. It's, I don't need a token for an analytics platform. Velox, for example, came out, has no token on it. We don't need a token for a trading bot. You can just build the trading bot and let it go. So the way that Roam Terminal actually generates revenue is through integrations. If there is a high value protocol that you as a user think would fit perfectly into the service, contact the group via Telegram, have them reach out to the Roam Terminal. And we are more than happy to open up discussions on integrating any service into the Roam Terminal as such. And that covers any network as well. BSC, Polkadot, Avalanche is our primary focus, though, simply because we see it as one of the most burgeoning networks in the space. So overall, Rocky, about a week and a half until the platform's released, and then by the end of the year, we plan on implementing essentially every major network imaginable to provide services for pretty much the entirety of decentralized finance, and that's quite an exciting opportunity.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great answer, and I definitely have the same sort of sentiment that you just displayed. I'm curious, as far as, you kind of touched on this sort of multi-chain, integrate them all approach. Do you see well, obviously you do because you're doing it, but like, do you think, like, how many chains are we talking about will we have in the next maybe 5 years that will sort of be the main ones that people are using? Do you think it'll be a handful? Will it be, 50? Will it be
right?
I mean, what are
it
your
can
thoughts
get tricky.
there?
That's a fantastic question, Rocky. And it can get really tricky, right? Now, I think if you would have asked me, what did I say, like 6 months ago, right? I would have said it's probably going to be like maybe 5 chains that are the main one. But as anybody who really pays attention to the movements of blockchain technology and specifically for us, decentralized finance, we've come to find that it is going to be a multi-network ecosystem. That the insistence on bridging liquidity right now, for example, between multiple networks wouldn't be present if there was value in not necessarily competitive networks, but networks providing functionality that picks up and services solutions that other networks might not have. And that's one of the things that Roam Blockchain Labs as a company in general seeks to promote. DeFi is very cutthroat. It's a very hard business to get a foothold in. And it's also rife with corruption, scams, and that just happens naturally in any unregulated market. What we found, however, is that in conjunction with the impending regulation from the SEC and other major regulators, being married to the legitimacy, of decentralized finance activities, we seek to promote more of a harmony between networks. So as far as how many we can integrate, honestly, I couldn't say. I'm sure any answer I'd give you would probably be wrong. But my guess is that there's probably going to be at least a couple dozen over the coming years that the Roam Terminal would see value in integrating. That being said, this is really is a two-way street, right? Roam Blockchain Labs, the Roam Terminal in general, doesn't have a crystal ball about which networks can be the most valuable. So after the Roam Terminal is released, we're more than happy to open up a dialogue with our community and say, all right, which of these networks do you guys think RBL should build on? What direction do you think we should head in? And then from there, we can pivot accordingly. So I hope that answers your question, Rocky.
It does. Okay, we're starting to get some questions from both Zoom and YouTube. I'll start with the ones here in Zoom. We have 2 questions from Kyle Hentz, and he says, how about Cosmos and Cello?
Cello. Yeah, so Cello, we haven't looked at. I'm actually not too familiar with that, to be completely honest with you, Kyle. As far as Cosmos goes, however, we're actually very interested in moving on to Cosmos. Cosmos, Cardano, and even Tron are a handful of the networks that don't have necessarily a ton of decentralized finance activity, but that's more the direction that we're looking to move into.
Great. Okay, let me move over to YouTube. One of them says, I understand that you do not want a token, but still, like, why make it free?
What was the name of the person who asked that?
Let's see. That is Mac Fallon.
All
Or
right, Mac.
Fallon. Yeah.
Mac Fallon. Great question, right? So I touched on this a little bit earlier, but essentially what we've found as an organization is that there's a lot of projects that don't actually need a token to operate properly, right? Now I could add it, I could just create a smart contract, tie that token into the service, and have people pay in tokens, right? But apart from just paying to use it, the token really wouldn't have too much value directly as the way that with the way that the Roam terminal is built as such. And to integrate it even more, in our experience, would interrupt a very healthy and balanced UX flow. Is rather than having to like pay per access per month or pay per widget per month, would it be easier just to go to a website and start using it? And that's really our ethos behind not tokenizing the Roam terminal.
Awesome. Another one from Mac here. Are there any other similar projects that you know of? Because the LCX crypto is doing the similar thing.
We've come across a handful of services that offer a similar-esque solution to what the Roam terminal is providing, yet we've yet to find anybody who's actually offering this sheer amount of value. The Roam terminal's value isn't in one thing, and that's why we know is actually going to make quite the impact on decentralized finance, right? It's not just on the data. It's not just on the integrated widgets. It's not just on the savable features for technical analysis and pricing. It's easy to use. It operates on every single network. We're going to integrate every single high quality application you could imagine across the entire gamut of decentralized finance, exchanges, lending protocols, margin trading, NFT marketplaces. It's all coming. And I'm not just saying that out of the blue. We actually are working with projects as we speak on building those services in. So while there are others who might have a similar idea, we haven't found any healthy competition yet.
Great answer. Awesome. Let's see. We have another one from Kyle here. If you want to open up, do you have the Q&A? Are you able to view?
I do.
It's a little bit of a long one.
All right, all right. So Kyle asks, can you imagine creating an overlay of real-time or near real-time data from and holistic analysis of actual ecosystems and tracking regenerative DeFi and other regenerative activities such as Regen Network or Project Arc, for example, that are also tracked on the Roam terminal? If you can, I'd like to talk with you both about building a dashboard for a multi-chain regenerative operating systems, REOS. We'd like to build first on Avalanche. Kyle, that sounds very interesting. As far as a regenerative operating system, to be completely honest, I'm rather unfamiliar with that concept. That being said, as far as offering real-time data for ecosystem tracking, we're already building that out via the Roam Net service. So actually, I brought this just in case this question was asked, and I thought it might have been. So if you don't mind, Rocky, I can share my screen real quickly and show users a bit of the Roam Net system.
Yeah, go for it.
So this is a fairly simple or straightforward breakdown of the Roam Net data service. Now, Roam Net is a multi-application, multi-blockchain data infrastructure that's really feeding the services to the Roam terminal and to actually a handful of partners as we speak. What we're doing is we're collecting every single bit of pertinent financial transaction information in a big data infrastructure. We're talking petabytes worth of information that's being stored and tabulated, right? Stored and I should say indexed properly. And this service actually operates under 3 layers. We have layer 0, layer 1, and layer 2. Layer 0 is the collection of your straightforward transaction information. All right, what's the volume of a DEX over the past 24 hours? What's the USD value of liquidity of an individual DEX over a certain amount of time? What's the ratio of lent to borrowed assets on a certain lending protocol, or how many transactions per hour is a certain trading bot platform making? Now, we can actually take that information and a whole bunch more, and we can aggregate it to provide real-world valuable comparative analytics. That includes what's the volume of all wrapped Avalanche pairs on the top 3 DEXs in the past 24 hours across the Avalanche C chain, or what percentage of USDT, now USDT.E, within the Avalanche ecosystem being used in lending protocols versus DEXs, or how many number of trades have involved a link token in this month versus last month across the entirety of the network, across all exchanges, or just 5 exchanges, or trading pool pairs that have over 5 million in daily volume. You can actually get quite immersive with the comparative analytics. And as Rome Terminal and Rome Net launches over the coming month or two, what we're actually going to be able to do is have this type of analysis be done multi-network. So then you can look at, for every liquidity pair that has over $5 million in daily transaction volume across the top 15 DEXs across 5 different blockchain networks, how does that look? What type of information does that tell me? What information can I derive from that movement? And that's where RomeNet layer 2 data comes in, is that we're going to be able to provide that completely bespoke, high quality, multifaceted data in seconds. We're actually able to source it from the network via our private crawlers into the RomeNet infrastructure, run it through our backend services, and then output it into an API. So it can be plugged into a front end. It can be plugged into a trading bot. It can be plugged into any type of analysis platform that perhaps a bank or hedge fund might want to utilize. And that's really the direction that RomeNet's looking to go. So as far as a regenerative operating system for the publication of multi-network comparative analytics, that's something that fits directly into our service. And Kyle, I would love to talk with you about that. So you can feel free to reach out to me on the Rome Terminal Twitter, or you can actually come to our Telegram group. It's Rome Terminal. So.
Awesome. Yeah, great answer. I'm sure Kyle appreciated that one. We do have another one from YouTube. In the interim, if anyone on this Zoom wants to post their question, there should be a Q&A box in the bottom of your screen. Just go ahead and click on that and type in your question, and we'll get you in the queue. But the next one is from YouTube, from Walla.
Walla, okay.
They ask, is it a web-based, or do you have to download it as a desktop app? Is it open source?
Great question, Walla. So there's 3 points there. Is it... do you have to download software for it? No, it's actually completely web-based. Everything runs off of the browser, and it also, of course, runs off of the RomeNet infrastructure as well. So you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to download anything to use it. Was that all the questions, I believe?
And then open source. Is it
open source? No. So this is not open source. This is actually proprietary. That being said, one of the defining factors of Rome Blockchain Labs projects in general, be it Banky, Velox, Coup, or Rome Terminal, is that we actually encourage market participation. We encourage our community to begin suggesting, directions that into, hey, I found out this great, exchange is opening up, or this direction for how the layout would operate is fantastic. Anybody who's been around our Velox trading bot knows how active we are in taking community feedback, and we're happy to work with you guys on those improvements.
Yeah, that's huge. I think that's really important. Let's see. We do have another one from Mac as well on YouTube. It says, looks like a super cross-chain Oracle platform you guys are building. That is awesome. But I'm curious how you guys collect all data. Do you use different oracles like Link and Band protocol?
Great question, Mac. So we actually don't use Chainlink or any other third-party service or Oracle service provider. We scrape all of the information directly from the blockchain ourselves. So we have a multi-server infrastructure up and running. We have multiple nodes from all of the networks you've seen and more coming that are deployed and maintained by our team. And then from there, we build bespoke crawlers for every service. So let's say that you open up a lending protocol on Cosmos, for example. We would actually build the crawler with that team and begin indexing the data directly into the RomeNet infrastructure. And then once it's there, we can offer that information as a service to anybody who would want to use it. We've spoken with Chainlink. We've spoken with a couple other Oracle providers, but at least in the RomeNet side of things, there isn't a direct compatibility since we're doing it ourselves.
Yeah, great answer. Now, as far as just, I guess, out of my curiosity, what does the process look like if a project wants to integrate with Rome Terminal? What does that sort of end-to-end process look like, and what steps are sort of in between?
Fantastic question, Rocky. So the process is actually really straightforward. First things first, people should reach out to us. We're so inundated right now with projects that it's difficult for us to do all of the external and the internal. It's just part of a growing team, which is actually being resolved. We're hiring quite a number of biz dev and marketing partners. But reach out to us on Twitter. Reach out to us on Telegram. If you go onto roamterminal.io, there's a participate button there that actually has a link to my own email. So you could email me directly with, hey, this is, XYZ from so-and-so project. I'd love to integrate. Send us an email. After that's done, we'll set up a preliminary Zoom call. We'll go over what's your expectations. How do you see your service being built into the Roam terminal? Then once that's agreed upon, we would next go over the design of the widget, right? Assuming everything works, everyone's happy with that process. We look at the widget design. We offer an actual service level design that's provided to the potential client. Then from there, they make the decision. We discuss price. It's agreed upon, and then we begin building. We build the design. We build the React framework. We connect the smart contracts. We build the crawlers. So it's actually a relatively hands-off process for any partner. Roam Blockchain Labs, the entire team, takes on that burden and provides for partners a more or less hands-free way of reaching out to the entire DeFi.
Sweet. Okay, another one from Mac here. And I might just add a bit onto the end of this, but it says, what do you guys do with the data from your users? And maybe talk a little bit about both on the integration side, so the projects that integrate, and then also on the people that have like an account with Roam Terminal.
Yeah, fantastic question. So to be completely transparent, we don't collect data on our users. The only data for users that we have is their Telegram account, because we have to have some type of authentication, process. And then from there, you have your standard username with any Telegram account, and the widget watch and the preferred tokens and the dashboard layout is what we collect. And that's pretty much it. Our goal isn't user data; it's actually financial transaction data. That's where we make our money, is sourcing open source data essentially, and then actually building a service that allows people to extract value from trends in the financial markets. So that's how we use the data.
Yeah, very straightforward, and definitely a bit of a different playbook than the big tech players. That's for sure.
Yes, yeah, we're rather unorthodox in quite a number of avenues, and it's worked for us.
Awesome. Okay, let's see, Alex. I don't see any questions here on Zoom, and I don't see any more on YouTube. So I think we'll just call it there.
Great.
This has been great, Alex. Really appreciate you coming on and showing us the demo. I know you answered a ton of questions. And if people want to, hit you up for additional questions after this meetup, where can they find you?
If they want to talk to me for additional questions about just the service itself or integrations, they can go to roamterminal.io. They can click on the participate or the partner button up top, send me an email directly, and I'll be happy to talk with them. We're not presently taking any individual third-party alpha testing. It's actual projects to be partnered with. That being said, the Roam Terminal public alpha is going to be released very shortly, and they can feel free to use it then. So we'll keep more announcements going on our Twitter and Telegram.
Sweet. Okay, everybody, we're going to end it there, but want to thank everyone for attending. Want to thank our YouTube viewers for all those great questions. And, we hope to see you real soon on another meetup from Avalanche. So Alex, thank you. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Rocky. Wonderful talking to you guys.
All righty. Take care, y'all.